Hey, I'm Lance Moyer. I'm the executive pastor of worship here at Christ Church.
Hi, my name is Seth Prater. I'm the facility supervisor and worship leader here at Christ Church.
Hi, I'm Rachel Haas, and I'm the audio and lighting coordinator for Christ Church.
Welcome to Spire Sessions.
Will I believe you when you say your hand will guide my
Welcome to episode 5. Glad to be here with y'all again. Today, we're going to talk about walking by faith, and we're going to play the Jeremy Camp song, Walk by Faith, as well, and talk about that. But let's talk about what walking by faith means to certain people. So
on Tuesday, we were looking for some answers for this question. Christina Catrone said, never truly being able to understand the immensity of God's love and who he is, but just trusting that there's a plan for each and every small step of your life, and that it all leads up to one day having everlasting life with the Lord. And I responded with, that's it. We're going to record you. That's our episode. That's it.
Christina.
There's no need for us to go on.
Christina's awesome.
Yeah. And then Glenda Wilkins responded with, choosing not to worry about bad things that might happen, especially at 2 a.m., asking to see things as God sees them, a work in progress that he will make beautiful even if it looks horrific at the time. Walking by faith looks like a good night's sleep. Agreed.
Wow.
Yeah. Some heavy
I don't.
answers. That's it. That's
it.
the episode.
That's it. We're done.
That's it.
Enough said, right?
Yeah.
That's
it.
amazing. Yeah.
But if you guys had to dig deeper, what would you say?
I would say that walking by faith is literally just diving into Christ and just wholeheartedly opening yourself up and saying, "Here I am. Let's. What do you have for me? How are you going to lead me? How are you going to? What's this going to look like?" Even though he's probably not going to show you every single aspect of it, it's just surrendering to Christ and saying, "Let's go."
Yeah, that's it. It paints my story as I got into ministry, because the whole 2 Corinthians 5:7, right?
Mm-hmm.
For we walk by faith, not by sight. And sometimes it is a leap of faith. Getting into ministry as a vocation was, I'm the type of guy, God, just give me the plan, I'll do it. But we know God doesn't work that way. It's walk by faith. And the way will be paved. And that's, and sometimes we just have to take those steps and just say yes without knowing what's coming,
Right. Let our insecurities kind of fall back and let him lead. He's going to give us the right direction. He's going to give us the right things to do. So we just got to follow and not worry about
trust factor. Yeah. And having faith in, the unseen God, right? Just knowing that is our ultimate.
Right. And no matter what circumstances, like Jeremy Camp, his wife had passed away from cancer, and that's how he wrote this song. And it was a surrender. He was upset, and he was constantly upset about this, and he was even says like he was throwing his Bible around, and he didn't want to read anymore, and he was trying to surrender, and that's how he came up with this. So,
not understanding what just happened or what's happening. And it's just kind of that keeping the faith. And I think that means when we're hurt or when we're mad. I mean, it's not like we walk around happy all the time. And but it doesn't, when we're hurting, it doesn't mean, we need to try to keep that faith, hold on to that faith.
Right. We're allowed to be broken down.
For sure.
We're allowed to be unsure of what's going on. And I think that emphasizes the definition of that, not by sight. And even since coming here, I had no idea this is where I would be 10 years ago when I came to run sound for a local church, and it's looking back and oh, yep, that was a step that I had no idea I needed, but here we are.
Yeah. And I think everybody has that kind of story. If they would just take the time of looking back and seeing where you were and where God has led you in this point, and just take that in consideration.
Help me to rid my endless fears. You've been so faithful for all my years. One breath. Broken, but I still see your face. That's a powerful line. Well, I'm broken, but I still see your face. Back to the broken conversation. We didn't really unpack that a lot.
No.
But something was said that's important, is that it's okay to be broken.
Yeah.
I think we can't stress that enough. And we did a series, and Steve Rudisil led the sermon series, essentially saying it's okay to not be okay.
I have the first sermon tacked up on my desk.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite sermons that he's ever done
Yeah.
because it's just over and over. It is okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
It is okay to be
Yeah.
depressed. It is okay
Yeah.
to have anxiety. It
Yeah.
is okay to have stuff going on in your life and to not be as strong. But there are people here to help you. Like all of us, I 100% believe that I would not be here without you guys. Like here at this job, here on earth, like I just, this place saved me for sure. And that's okay. You know, that it's okay to tell that story. It's okay to dive into that
Exactly,
stuff.
because it's, I mean, there are stories, but it's really God's stories. It
Yeah.
demonstrates the power, what God can do through struggles, through everything. I mean, and I just think it's so important for people who might be considering coming to a church or getting connected in a Christian community, that it's you don't have to be healed to get here. That's the misconception. Like I need to repair myself before I go to church. No, you don't. That's the
We
time.
help that.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I want to point out that everybody, staff, pastors, congregation, nobody's immune to being broken and hurting sometimes.
Right.
It's just what happens. And the cool thing about a community is like when I'm down, my friends lift me up.
Right. We're here to surround around you.
And then I'm going to be, up and somebody will be down. And it's just, it's just this family dynamic that really helps. I had a period of time where, was going through some things and rehearsing with the band was what was keeping me afloat for a few weeks. That was, the time I wasn't thinking about all the stuff going on. And,
Yeah, we do have some ebb and flow every single day. And I love how, like Jeremy Camp was saying about his loss of Melissa, it was because of her faith that kept him leaning on Christ and leaning on the faith of Jesus. It was her faith that got him to where he was at. It wasn't anybody else's. It was her faith. And then he trusted in God. Then he was leaning on God's understanding and leaning on his trust.
And God anointed him to do this music ministry.
Right. And so when we come to church broken. And then you have a huge family that gathers around you that you can stand with and feel that comfort and start to walk towards Christ, start to walk in that faith and lean in it.
They help you take those steps of just saying yes. When I was getting into ministry, I had a lot of people that would just kind of encourage me, just take the step, just say yes to this, and me, I'm like, but I want the 10-point plan. Well, you're not going to get it, okay? Right. So just say
Here's
yes to this.
0.5 plan.
Exactly,
just
a 0.5
go.
plan. Yeah, just go.
Right.
Even down to the when I was at pastor boot camp is what I call it, but it was licensing school. I wanted to leave within 24 hours. I'm like, you made a mistake, God. This
is not
for
structured
me.
the way I wanted it.
And God basically said, in the way that God can, you're just going to have to get over yourself.
Yeah.
And then when you do, we got work to do.
We'll talk.
Yeah, we've got work to do.
Yeah.
So I chose you, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so I do enjoy the first part of his verse 1. It says, "Will I believe you when you say your hand will guide my every way? Will I receive the words you say every moment and every day?" And to be able to believe in God and what he says to you, to be able to believe what he puts on your heart every single day, that's tough. When I came to Christ Church, I was working third shift, 78 hours a week, working at steel mill. I was tired every single day. And then my wife and I were both like, we need church. We truly need to seek God and seek his love, because our story was starting to fall apart because we didn't have that third strand. We did not have Christ in our life. And then as I was working at South Campus, as I was wrapping up chords and as I was putting out our stuff, that's when it was like one weekend I was coming home from the grocery and I heard this song on the radio, and I had to drive around my town. I was like, I've got to do this song. I've got to do this song for the church. So it was like.
So was this the first Christian song that you learned how to play then?
Yeah, it was. Okay. It was the first one I dove into, and the one that stuck to my heart. And then watching Jeremy Camp's story, understanding his story, understanding what he was, why he wrote it, and kind of
talking about walking by faith, right? His story is pretty incredible. Yeah.
Have you seen the new movie?
No,
is it out yet?
It is.
Okay.
Well, it came. You can.
I still
like
believe
Amazon. I think put it out.
It's got
Amazon,
the one guy from Riverdale in it.
You can buy it. I think Amazon put it. It was supposed to hit theaters before the global
pandemic.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. I read his book, and his book is incredible. And even when his family and his dad, they would literally.
They had no money.
They had no money.
They had no money.
No food,
Yeah.
and they would literally pray as a family. And
God
he
would
said like
provide.
every time food would show up,
Yeah.
somebody would bring him food. It was just remarkable. I mean,
Like no
remarkable.
vehicle. I think they had a hard time with a vehicle, and it just kept getting fixed. Or there
and
was
then
lots
even
of-
how he became a Christian artist, he just played, and people just really enjoyed hearing him. He would just go to a function, and they kept asking him back. And then when his wife was dying, his first wife, she said, "You have to do this. You have to go for this." I think that's the gist of the story. And so he just sort of, but it was a very humble how he made it to become this famous Christian artist. It wasn't like he was going for it. It just, people loved him, loved his story, loved his music, and that's how it happened.
I've not dived into any of this. I had no idea about any of this until you started talking. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, he's got his testimonies out there, but also in his book, he explains about like the first part of basically their lives from about 12 on, how his family was has just they struggled every day, but they stayed on God's faith, and and he provided. God provided, his community provided, and that's what kept him going and kept him going.
Jeez.
Yeah, I will share that when I was kind of in the pit and coming out of the pit, when my faith journey started, Jeremy Camp's music was a huge part of bringing me kind of out of. I would listen to he's got an Unplugged album that I just listened to constantly. It just really brought me peace and serenity.
Huh.
Yeah.
I need to listen to that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So, but I think I love that first verse that you pointed out, where because there's, will I believe? We hear it, right? God's got you, but we have to receive that and kind of believe that, and it is hard sometimes, because when you're hurting, it's really hard.
Right, and taking that step and saying, okay, I'm going to trust that it's going to come out, and when it does, sometimes you have disbelief in saying, oh, that wasn't God.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That wasn't God. That was luck, or that was somebody else did something. You don't live on that. So.
Yeah.
This is the song though that you learned, and this is the song that I heard you playing in the corner of the stage with my guitar when I thought, hey.
I'm not playing that guitar. What is that?
Yeah, and I was
That's
really rough
good.
at it. I was really rough at it at first, but
and that's the song that you played the very next weekend solo at South Campus at Dayton Christian School.
Yep.
And here we are now today. We're going to play it, but worship leader for the church. I mean, talking about walking by faith.
Yeah.
What a journey.
Yeah. When you asked me to take on a worship leader position, and that you fully trusted me, and you're like, I need you to pray about it, but I want you to trust me that I think you can do this. And I had backing. I had backing by you and like all the congregation, but it was. Me, a dog with a bone. I'm like, okay, let's go.
It's funny because this speaks to our personalities, because we talked about it, and I said, no, I want you to go and pray about it. He's like, let's do this. I'm like, no, I want
No,
you to go
go.
home and pray about it.
Not right now while you're standing in front of me. Go.
And he's like, okay, I'll go home and pray about it, and then
Comes
it's like
back the next
he's
day,
like,
I'm
let's
good.
do this.
Woof.
Funny story about this. It was probably about 4 years ago. So we have Connect cards, right? Our Connect cards. Kim, my wife, saved the Connect card.
Who's also the business administrator here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
the glue.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the glue that
holds us
that
together.
holds us together.
Yeah.
Yeah. She brought the Connect card with us. We were going on vacation with Katie and Jamie McCoy, friends of ours, and I had no idea that we were going to see Jeremy Camp at Atwood Lake. And so we're at the Alive Festival, which is over by Dover, Ohio, and they have tents up on the top, but like the amphitheater, it's an outside amphitheater. It's all down by the lake, and so they had tents. Well, I didn't know Jeremy was going to be signing autographs and stuff. So she kept the Connect card, the first Connect card that I sang that week, and so I had no idea. And so she hands it to me. Now I have a major fear of famous people. This
Which is so not your personality. Like, hearing you say
why
that
the
is
Connect
hilarious.
card? Was it
so
the
because it
weekend
was like a memorabilia, like
from when you
from
played the
when I
song?
first played that song.
Okay, it was from
It was
that
that
day.
day. That
Connect
Connect
card
card.
from church from that day.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and then it was from her. It was that Connect card of I love my husband being on the stage today,
okay.
singing "Walk by Faith."
That's probably when we were still
And
putting songs on the Connect card, like the flow of
It
service.
was.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It
Yeah,
is.
because we
It
used to do
was
that
on
on
Yeah,
the
we
back.
listed the
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do it. I could not. She handed me the Connect card, take it out of the cellophane and give it to me, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? And she's like, Jeremy Camp's in there. Would you like to have it signed by? And I'm like, I can't do it. It's like that total stage fright.
Doesn't it surprise you that he?
Yeah,
like,
him of all people.
Right, he'll
That's
talk to
like,
anybody.
Walk out, go talk to someone that's riding their bike down the
Right,
street.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just who you are,
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
Like famous people.
I
That's
couldn't
funny.
do it, and so they were closing the tent.
Oh.
They were like, "We're done. This is the last 8
Oh,
people, whatever."
man.
And
Oh, man.
Katie is like dragging me, "Go, get in there,
Yeah.
get in there!" And I couldn't. She snaps the card, runs to the thing, and she's like, "Jeremy." They close the gate on her, right?
Oh, my
and they go.
gosh.
She's like, "Jeremy, please, it's for my friend. Please help me."
Oh my gosh,
And
that's hilarious.
and he's like,
gosh.
"Okay, come in." And I see the curtains close. And so she got to see Jeremy Camp, touch his muscles and all that. Yeah,
gosh.
that's Katie, right?
What a
That's
Katie McCoy thing to
right?
do.
She's like,
That's
and thank
awesome.
you for signing. And she came out running and handed it to me.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh my
Blessed,
gosh.
Katie.
So
thank
cool,
you.
so cool,
I'll
yeah.
always remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
And Kim, thank you
so
for
cool.
bringing the Connect card that week. And
That's
it's a cool
amazing.
piece I have signed.
Really?
Yeah.
One day maybe I'll
Frame it.
meet.
Cool.
One day maybe I'll meet Jeremy Camp and be able to say, "Dude, I'm
So-
sorry.
Hey, I was
I'm
too
so-
afraid to
I'm
have you
so-
sign this, but you
Yes,
signed this for
will
my
you sign
friends.
this? Yeah. Thank you. Do you remember the lady that was crazy? Going, "Oh, Jeremy."
Touch your muscles, that one.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So it was really
funny.
cool. He's a great guy,
Yeah.
and he actually, I don't think he was going to sing that song at all at Atwood, and he touched it. Like he was on I think he was in "I Still Believe" on that song "I Still
Yeah.
Believe," and he ended up medleying "Walk by Faith" into that song and finished off on it. And I was like,
That's so
"Oh, that's a
cool.
cool piece. Like I'm glad you did that because that kind of tells me that you're thinking about that. Like that touched
Yeah.
you as well. That you
Well, I'm
would
sure
have
that's a
somebody. He
huge
actually probably
piece.
read
like
it.
The
and-
first big song is "Walk by Faith." You know, that's really neat.
yeah, it was a neat. It was a cool piece, cool part of my weekend. So
That's a cool story. So here's interesting factoid. My two favorite Christian artists are Matt Maher and Jeremy Camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not seen either one in concert.
all right, we're going.
And I've seen a ton
Okay,
of others.
but next
going.
Thursday, Matt Maher is live, and we're not going to miss it.
yes,
7
we have
p.m.
to remember.
Matt Maher
Yeah.
live.
live.
Yeah,
We have to watch
It's
it,
not the
'cause I'm-
same as seeing him in
No,
concert.
but it got sent to me by Live Nation, so it's concert
But-
format.
But those two and their songwriting is remarkable
yeah,
to me, and those are two people that I would love to
yeah,
see live for sure. But
Yeah.
but if I could choose,
yeah.
if I had to choose between one of them, that'd be difficult.
Yeah. So that's not your only job. You're also the facility supervisor.
Yeah.
So talk about that. How do you go between?
Wearing 2 hats every day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Literally,
This
yeah.
is my fun look, and then I got, it's all business. Let's go ahead and do work. Let's
It's
fix
like,
things.
Let's be honest.
Mullet hat?
You're never
I mean, what is-
business.
Yeah, here's my business.
Yeah, my business.
No, it's interesting, especially like, okay, so being a worship leader here at this church and being facility supervisor, we have a daycare and a preschool here, and you're trying to minister to them. You're trying to help them in all their situations. You're trying to help the staff that's here.
Yeah.
The grounds are being taken care of, but like there's building issues that need to be corrected in
Right.
here, and we're working on those. And then obviously we got Spire Sessions this week. We've got music to record this week. We've got this to,
Yeah.
So it's funny because I say that about the hat because I walk in here this morning and I'm going, okay, I have to unlock doors. I have to do this. I have to do that. Like I have business pieces that I have to do.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you guys are like, you ready? I'm like, let's do this.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's the music portion of it is fun, and the business portion is business. It's all business. So
One of my favorite things is like before all this happened, we'd be practicing a song like down in the stairwell, and you'd get a text and be like, I gotta go fix the sink. I'll be right back.
I know.
You can just go back
Kid
and forth
just
all
threw
day.
up. I gotta go.
Yeah. It's just neat, and you do it so well. It's just like effortlessly. You're like, well, I gotta go do this, but I'll be right back. And you're so positive about everything.
Yeah.
It's annoying. I wish I was like that.
It's hard.
It's
hard.
an
It's hard
amazing
to be.
heart.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. It is hard to make the switches.
We
go
I'm
in a lot
getting
of
better.
different
I'm getting
directions.
better at
Yeah.
it, but it's you have to stay positive every day,
Yeah.
right? We're called to walk by faith. Will I believe you when you say your hand will guide my every way? Will I receive the words you say every moment of every day? Well, I will walk by faith even when I cannot see. Oh, because this broken road prepares your will for me. Oh, help me to rid my endless fears. So faithful for all my years. With one breath you've made me new. Your grace covers all I do. Yeah. Will walk by faith, even when I cannot see. Oh, because this broken road prepares your will for me. Well, I'm broken, but I still see your face. And you've spoken, pouring your words of grace. Well, I will walk by faith, even when I cannot see. Well, because this broken road prepares your will for me. Well, I will walk by faith, or even when I cannot see. Oh, because this broken road prepares your will for me. I will walk by faith. I will walk by faith. I will walk by faith. I will
So for next week, we are having another guest. We'll have Christy Smith up here, and she is our care. What is she?
She's the care director.
Care director for Christ Church. Yeah. And we just opened a new care center down by the offices down here. So next week, we'll be able to bring her up here. We're going to talk a little bit about care, and we want you to know that we have people for you to reach out to if you are broken. If you need to talk to someone, you can talk to Christy, our care director. You could talk to Craig, who is our South Campus care pastor. You have people to reach out to. So if you need anything, reach out to one of us. You can find us, if you haven't seen our previous episodes, you can find us on Facebook under the Christ Church Facebook page, Spotify under Spire Sessions, YouTube under Spire Sessions, and Instagram under the Christ Church Instagram page. We go out every Monday at 10 a.m.
Heavenly Father, I thank you for today and for music. Music helps us to worship, and we want to worship you. We want to worship you in song. And we thank you for everything that you give us each and every day. Help us to walk by faith. Help us to live into the Holy Spirit and to learn from Jesus. And let us just be true to you and let us walk by faith. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. See
you next week.
Okay. So for next week, we are having another guest. We'll have Christy Smith up here, and she is our care. What is she? What is her title?
Care awesome queen.
Yeah. Yeah. She's not a pastor. Our care everything. She is our care queen.
She's not officially a pastor, but she's very pastoral.
Care queen.
Yeah.
Done.
I don't
That's
think
your
that's
new
official.
title, Christy. I said it. I declared it.